welcome to Back to School Night. I'm Kalkstein, and I'm excited to be teaching your child Algebra 1 this year. In addition to the math skills relevant to the course that we'll be learning this year, there are other skills that I think are important for life as well that we want to work on this year. Firstly are those skills around communication. So there are two kinds of skills related to communication that are relevant to our course this year. First of all, there's communication about math. Students tend to think that math is all about looking at numbers, sometimes letters and symbols, and just knowing what to do when you see them. They don't like to think as much about the fact that there are words and terms and concepts around this, about why it works and how it works and how to talk about it. And so one of the things that I'd like to work on this year is talking about math, understanding it to the extent that we can use the relevant vocabulary and terms, etc. So I enforce that by using it in class, by encouraging students to use it in class, by taking detailed notes, and also by using it on tests. So although it's not typical, my math tests sometimes have vocabulary words on them, or just explain why this is. And I think that that really helps students develop a more relatable level of why math works the way it does. The other aspect of communication that's really important is communicating about areas that we're struggling with, or any other things that come up. I couldn't do my homework because I'm having trouble preparing for this test, I'll be absent, etc. So that kind of communication is really important for our class. It's also really important for life, and that's another thing that I really encourage and want to work on with your child this year. I'd also like to further develop some metacognitive skills for your child. That is the awareness of what are things that they're struggling with, what are things that they're really good at, what mistakes do they tend to make again and again, how much time are they spending to review for a test, how do they think they performed on the test. So those kinds of questions I want to fold into formative assessment kind of things, forms before or after an exam to find out what their thoughts are, where they see themselves, and as we're learning new material, to develop that sense of, these are the mistakes I tend to make, so how can I catch myself and not continue to make that mistake repeatedly. My grading system is a system of points, so every assignment, every test is worth a certain number of points depending on how big it is. Students that do their homework every night are going to do better because their homework grade is a significant part of their grade. If they're getting homework every single night and they're doing it consistently every night, they get a lot of points for that. On the other side, on the flip side, if a student is doing very well on tests but never does their homework, so even though their test performance is excellent, it's going to bring down their final grade because they aren't doing their homework. That kind of communication also really relates to taking responsibility, and that's another thing that's so important for our students to take responsibility for their work, to complete their work, and to take responsibility for the times that they can't or don't complete their work. And so taking responsibility is another big thing that we focus on. It means taking your own notes, it means completing your homework, it means turning in your homework, and being a responsible person. What can you do to help your child succeed in math this year? First of all, you can expect that they'll have homework every night. Sometimes that homework will be the traditional kind of math homework, just working out the problems in your notebook. Sometimes it'll involve some new technology, so they're going to be making some videos of themselves, taking some online tests, and things like that. If you notice that your child is struggling, please encourage them to reach out to me, because of course, then taking responsibility is number one. If they don't, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you either way. My email address is rkalkstein@koheletYeshiva.org, and that can also be found in the syllabus. I look forward to working with you this year, and I'm really excited to be back here learning with your child.